Northlane's EP Mirror's Edge has now come out, and this will be my first time listening to it in its entirety from start to finish. So I've heard Miasma and Afterimage and Dante, the single so far, but I've not heard Mirror's Edge, which looks like a intro track. It's less than a minute long. Let Me Disappear and Kraft. So I'm going to hear the whole thing from start to finish, even the ones I've already heard, to get the full experience, as it were. I'm so excited to check this out. I've really enjoyed what I've heard thus far. So, and go. Very fuzzy tone to start. Okay. It's teasing that vocal line from later. But the song that follows immediately, right? It's Afterimage that has this. Seamless transition. Let's see what Spotify does here. It's cool. Yeah, seamless, very nice. Love the drums on this. They wrap around your headphones nicely. Sounds gorgeous, doesn't it? This song gets stuck in my head regularly. It's a very good sign of good songwriting. Subtle little details in the drums where the tom-toms are placed there towards the end. Just adding some depth beyond the cymbals and the snare work. Yeah. Sparing use of the guitars here. Stops. Oh, not there. Rolls on there. Okay. That bass comes in there and stops. Space. Space. Back in. It's very cool. Dynamic variance. Brilliant. Glorious chorus resolves that chaotic edge. Sonically so appealing. Mirror's Edge being the EP title, embedded in the lyrics of Afterimage. Stank face time. So the punches in this are consistent, but the snare placements vary. Now they're locked on, but previously there would be some offbeats, and that makes this part more satisfying. There's the toms. This adds a little bit of sonic color. Beautiful song. I think it's my favorite of the 3 singles. Polyrhythmic stuff going on here. It's tasty. Miasma. This was the heaviest of the 3 signals. Signals? Singles. Cracking tune. Plenty of fire. Not just in the lyrics. On first listen, it was kind of hard to detect where the groove was. Where's the downbeat, you know? Because it's such a different rollover rhythmically of the you get eventually. Meaty guitars. The placement of the snare really helps you know where it is, and then they double it. 1, 2, 4. It feels like they hang you out to dry a little bit on this beat. Boom, space, and it comes back in. It's because there's nothing in terms of kick pedal placement in that gap. That's my interpretation of why that happens. It's also the longest gap in the rhythm that repeats. They're really playing around with syncopation over the rhythm to extend the phrase beyond where the 4/4 is. And eventually those patterns will loop together as one. See how long the gap between the snare is? There's a snare. There's another one. Like there's so much space for you to decide where the rhythm is. That'd be Winston McCall. Parkway Drive, if I'm not mistaken. Now, much more straight groove, more consistent snare on the 2s and 4s of this. I guess it's not really 2s and 4s. Sort of on the 3s of the 4-beat bars. No snare for ages. There. He's so particular, the drummer, about where he places the snare or the kick hits in unusual places. But it all makes sense mathematically if you give him time. It's very impressive. Okay, I've not heard this one before. I like the promise of this.
I'll let you in, but I'll never show the side of me that you don't need to know.
Nice. I thought that's a slider of bends.
Found a place underground where no one can hear me, but I can see clear. Keep my thoughts in a box, no one needs to read them. Just let me disappear.
Interesting vocal delivery.
You say distracted, I call it numb. You see I'm absent, I was never
Such a high voice, such a low, grinding guitar sound. Cool pairing. Ooh. Oh, I love the gaps here. Yes, drummer. It's the same kind of guitar riff. Kind of throughout the song. But what they do around it varies. And the gaps they place in it. We're entering the Matrix. That all just went to nothing. What the fuck are these sounds? Some very jarring sounds in this. Very unusual. That beat confused me. Did they drop something on purpose? Woo-hoo. That had such a cool feel to it. It has that electronic guitar mashup that they do these days, but a different feel again for them, actually. It felt like a very sort of late 90s dance song, but with more heaviness and oomph. Very cool. Okay, what's this? Cool.
Another burnt out constellation, a black cloud turning out the sky. Another trail of mass destruction, but your hunger still not satisfied. You'll head to the underground now. The punch you sit and die. If there's nothing left for you to break, so you're still the voice they prophesied. All pride disintegrates, repress the pain.
Jesus Christ.
We are saying though your disguise. Shrouded in the masquerade.
Very cool vocals
There's nothing hungry underneath.
for the feature.
Your secret's safe with me. The secret's safe with me. Our reality pulls you down like gravity. 1 more minute of your fantasy.
This sounds a bit like While She Sleeps here.
Let the dark will pave the way. With every note we resonate.
Full band coming in. And yeah. This is fucking groovy. They're loving this. The way they have these like genty rhythms over the main 4/4 groove. Throughout this EP, this is what they're doing. Prog dance is what it is. So many electronic layers. Sometimes just percussively, sometimes also with melody. Oh damn. Fuck. Oh. Totally different sound for this song. Tone-wise. Are we slowing down? Almost had that feel. Very bouncy. This is what the drums are doing. Bloody hell. Every once in a while they open up the portal to hell. Cool. Jagged. Interesting song. Alright, Dante. This one has grown on me a lot. Because it's about the vibe, really. On first listen, I think I gave it a solid. But it's gotta be delicious, at least. I think it wasn't interesting enough at first listen, but now... it just kind of seeps into you. They still have the syncopated different rhythms over the 4/4. But it's more gentle because it's a lighter layer, so you don't lose the groove as much on first listen. And then this is fantastic. It's a proper like dance song. Long as hell. 5 minutes, 46 seconds. Was it that long on the single? I don't remember. See if I can look that up. I don't remember. Yeah, it was. Grind back to the halftime. That snare sound is not the acoustic snare. It's a digital sound. That's the acoustic snare back in. Okay, just adds a bit of variety. We've doubled up earlier than you'd expect. An extended gap doesn't come in at the end of the normal pattern of the bars. They add an extra little one. a lot of his voice in those high notes with the distortion on it. Gotta do that live somehow. Here we go. Spacious pseudo guitar solo, because that's the prominent instrument in the foreground. Then I have that digital wavering on it. Assuming that is a guitar, it might have been some kind of synth sound, but it sounds guitar-like. Sometimes those lines are blurry. The changing of the snare's frequency done in surprising places. Little gems to get used to. And then that sound is almost like an alarm going off. And there's a minute left. The piano chords in there. More piano high up. Sort of beautiful and haunting at the same time. Almost like birdsong, little chirpy noises. Very subtle. And there it is. Northlane's EP. Assuming there's something else in the last 2 seconds. Yeah. Well, what a vibe. The most vague thing I could possibly say there. But I think that is what this is, right? There's a consistency in the sound spectrums that they're using, but also rhythmically between the songs. Particularly, they've done some of this in the previous album, Obsidian, right? But there's a consistency to this in terms of the rhythmic layering that you have 4/4 predominantly. Pretty much everything there is 4/4. But like it will loop around in a pattern, but those moments, there's a consistent gap in between all of those, and then there's a longer gap before they revisit that same shorter gap. So those happen in a sort of rolling fashion over the groove that you expect. And they've done that pretty much within every song in this. There's kind of it's not just a sonic consistency, but a rhythmic consistency within this EP, which is really interesting. But they played with it in different ways, because every song has its own different purpose within it and creative moments. There's different vocalists. Obviously, we've got guests from various bands in there, which adds to a bit of variety as well. But it's really fucking cool. I mean, I don't know how much it's affected by the fact that I know 3 of the songs quite well already. So those songs, the better you know a song, the more unique it becomes because you know its little specific details versus the other ones. But Let Me Disappear and Kraft had very different vibes to them in my estimation, which I certainly enjoyed. I cannot wait. I'm so glad I finally listened to this record so I can just loop it. And then those 2 additional songs, the unique details of those versus the others will kind of come through the fog and I'll understand them more, rather than just having, on first listen, focusing essentially on what is the groove doing, what are the different instrumentation layers doing in terms of rhythm, and how do they overlap and come back in. And then also enjoying things they're doing structurally, like, I mean, in Dante, I've heard the song a few times, but I forget. Before the second chorus, there's a longer gap than the usual end of, say, like a 16-bar phrase. It's sort of it's 16 bars, then there's a 17th bar before it kicks in. Notable example of that is in Slipknot's song Duality. I put my fingers into my eyes. On the last chorus, it's to my, and it's a longer break, and then it's eyes. And it's really satisfying if you know that's coming, which on first listen, you tend not to. It's kind of like, oh, surprising. It almost feels like they pulled the rug out from underneath you. But those are the Easter eggs that, once you get to know the songs better, really pay off in a big way. So I'm really excited to get to know this more, especially because these songs are more about rolling, ongoing vibes. It's different instrumentation comes in and out. I mean, what was the song? Was it Let Me Disappear, where it's basically the same guitar riff through most of it, but in the chorus or in different sections, they will remove part of the riff. So the essential chord progression is the same. Sometimes the distortion levels will be different, but how they've played with that riff is varied a little bit in the different sections, and that's really interesting. So I've really loved what they've done with the place. Love what they've done with this record, and it's strong. Very strong. What happened there? Oh, something just refreshed on my Spotify. I mean, I'd love for a full album. I'm a little bit sad it's just an EP, but fine. I guess perhaps if you had more songs with the same rhythmic consistency, maybe after, an album length might be a little bit too much of it. So perhaps this is just a particular playground they want to put together for these few songs with those particular features. And it was cool. I really enjoyed it. And I would say it is delicious on my first go around of the whole thing. I wonder about the intro track. Why is that not just part of the main second track? Because I loved the way that built, and I'd be quite happy for it to build that way every time I heard it. But I guess they decided, no, the track itself that's loopable will just be when it punches in from the start. Why can't I go back on that? That's curious. Oh, interesting. Sorry, my Spotify is being weird. Let me just look at the track listing again here. 1 second. What was it called? Yeah, the Mirror Edge image. Afterimage. Yeah, they decided to have the actual track start at a certain point, which is an interesting choice. I don't know how I feel necessarily about the rhythmic similarities between the songs, but perhaps that is what makes it cohesive as an EP. So that's cool. But those are the kind of things that are keeping me from going like this is a masterpiece. I don't really have many notes to give on it. I think it was fantastic overall. Very sophisticated record, satisfying, very appealing sonically in lots of ways. Fucking good balance of delicate as well as the heaviness that I enjoy. Great grooves. Fun. Great stuff from Northlane. A phenomenal band. And if you enjoyed this reaction, you want to see more things like this in future, feel free to subscribe on YouTube. Check out the links in the description. You can support the channel or get an early access to albums and EPs when I do them on Patreon. It's all in there. And there's also some links where you can get in touch with me. And there's a Discord you can join for free to talk to me and other folks who like this kind of music as well. Anyway, thank you for watching. Maybe I'll see you in another video.